All right, everyone, get ready because today we are going deep on broccoli.
Ooh, broccoli.
Yeah, you want to grow, and everybody wants to grow broccoli. And
True.
before we even get into how to actually grow it, did you know that there are over 60 varieties of broccoli?
No way.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
that's right. Like from Calabrese to Romanesco.
Wow.
It's a whole lot more than what we see just at the grocery store.
Yeah, for sure.
So to help us with this deep dive, we're using a guide from Utah State University Extension.
These guys know their stuff.
They do.
Yeah, they really cover everything you need to know to grow pretty much any kind of broccoli.
Yeah, so let's get into some of the basics. Then the guide emphasizes that broccoli is a cool season veggie.
Right.
What does that even mean when it comes to actually planting it?
So it really means timing is key.
Yeah.
You want to be planting this in those kind of milder temperatures of spring and fall.
Okay.
Think sunshine, yes,
Yeah.
but not like scorching summer heat.
Yeah.
You want those temperatures to stay below 75 degrees Fahrenheit.
Gotcha. So it's like finding that sweet spot where
Yeah.
your broccoli is going to thrive.
Yes.
Okay, now the guide also stresses the importance of well-drained soil. So I'm assuming soggy roots are a no-go.
Yeah, soggy roots are not good for pretty much anything.
Definitely not.
But especially broccoli, and
Yeah.
to make sure that your soil is really up to par, they recommend doing a soil test,
Okay.
which is a great idea because it gives you that detailed snapshot of your garden's nutrient content, the pH level, and it'll even let you know if there are any potential issues.
So important.
Yeah, think of it like a blood test.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, for your soil, it helps you understand exactly what your broccoli needs.
So instead of just guessing, we can actually see what's happening, like under the surface.
Yes.
Now, I'm assuming different varieties might have slightly different needs?
Absolutely, they do. Broccoli in general really loves boron,
Okay.
which is actually a micronutrient that's often overlooked, but it plays a really crucial role in cell wall development and just overall plant health.
Interesting.
Yeah, and a soil test can reveal if you have adequate boron levels in your soil,
Oh, wow.
which is important for those like bigger, more robust broccoli heads.
So we're not just talking about any old soil. We're talking about creating like the perfect broccoli environment
Yes,
right from the start.
yes.
Okay, so we've got our soil all prepped and ready for action, but now the big question, seeds or transplants.
Oh, that's a fun one. What do you
Interesting.
think? Well, starting from seed is great because it gives you a ton of variety. We're talking those heirloom varieties that you won't find in stores.
Right.
But it does require a good bit more time and patience.
Yeah, for sure.
Transplants, on the other hand, those are kind of your fast track to harvest, especially in areas with shorter growing seasons.
So it's about weighing your priorities.
Exactly.
Okay, if I'm impatient for those fresh broccoli florets, maybe transplants are the way to go.
Yeah, probably so.
What about once they're in the ground? Any tips on spacing?
Yeah, spacing is key. The guide recommends 12 to 18 inches between plants in a row, and then with rows 2 to 3 feet apart.
Wow. Okay, that seems...
It sounds like a lot, right?
Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
There's a reason for it.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Plants, just like us, they need their space to thrive.
Okay.
When they're too crowded, they start competing for sunlight, nutrients, and airflow.
Makes sense.
So giving them enough room allows for that optimal photosynthesis. It reduces disease risk, and it ultimately leads to healthier, more productive plants.
So it's all about creating that, ideal microclimate.
Exactly.
Okay.
For your little broccoli babies.
Speaking of which, let's talk about watering. The guide talks about deep and infrequent watering. What's the logic behind that?
Okay, so think of it like this frequent shallow watering. It encourages the roots to stay near the surface,
Okay.
which makes them really vulnerable to drying out really quickly.
Oh, that makes sense.
But deep watering, on the other hand, encourages those roots to grow deeper into the soil where there's a lot more moisture, and that leads to stronger, more resilient plants.
So it's like training your broccoli to withstand those mini droughts.
Exactly. You got it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Are there any other water-wise techniques that the guide recommends?
Yeah, absolutely. Drip irrigation is fantastic.
Okay.
It delivers that water directly to the root zone, so it minimizes evaporation and reduces that risk of fungal diseases.
Smart.
And then there's mulching,
Okay.
which applying a layer of organic mulch around your broccoli plants helps retain moisture, suppress those pesky weeds, and it regulates soil temperature.
So it's like a triple win.
Exactly.
It's like giving your broccoli the VIP spa treatment.
I love that.
Now, what about feeding those hungry broccoli plants? They must need a good dose of nutrients, right?
Yeah, they need to be strong and healthy, right?
They do, and the guide specifically calls out nitrogen
Cool.
as being really important for your broccoli.
Yeah, they even compare it to like giving your broccoli a protein shake for growth.
I like that analogy. So it's
Yeah,
like fueling their growth spurt.
exactly.
Okay, the guide recommends a specific type of nitrogen fertilizer, 21000. What's the significance of those numbers?
So those numbers represent the ratio of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium,
Okay,
which are the three main nutrients that plants need.
right.
So 2100 means it's a high nitrogen fertilizer, which is what broccoli needs, especially during that vegetative growth phase.
So it's all about that timing.
Exactly.
And the guide goes into detail on like the timing and the method of application. It seems like getting that right is key to avoiding over-fertilization.
It is, because over-fertilizing can actually harm your plants and the environment.
Right, of course.
So you want to find that balance.
Definitely now, even with the best care, sometimes things don't go exactly to plan.
That's true. That's the reality of gardening.
So let's talk troubleshooting. One issue that I saw in the guide was buttoning. What is that and how can we prevent it?
So budding is when your broccoli plant starts flowering prematurely.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it produces these small, underdeveloped heads.
Okay.
It's often triggered by stress, like inconsistent watering temperature fluctuations, or even planting overly mature transplants.
So it's like our broccoli is saying, hey, things are a little bit off here.
Exactly. And the key is to be really observant.
Okay.
If you start noticing those signs of stress, then you adjust your care accordingly.
Gotcha. So consistent watering is going to be crucial.
Yes, especially during those hot spells.
Yeah, that makes sense. And if you're using transplants, choose those younger, healthier ones.
Exactly. Prevention is key.
Yes. Okay, but let's fast forward to the best part, harvesting. How do we know when those broccoli heads are ready for their moment in the kitchen?
You want to harvest when the heads are large and compact and they have tight buds, typically around 6 to 12 inches in diameter.
Okay.
But here's a pro tip. Don't just harvest the main head.
Oh.
Once you've cut that central head, leave the plant in the ground. It'll often produce smaller side shoots
Oh, cool.
that you can continue to harvest for weeks.
So it's like the gift that keeps on giving.
Exactly.
I love that this has been an amazing deep dive. Any final thoughts for our listeners before they embark on their broccoli growing journey?
Yeah, I would say just remember that gardening is a journey of learning and experimentation. So don't be afraid to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
Make mistakes and learn along the way. Every season offers new discoveries.
I love that. And who knows, maybe you'll even be inspired to try some of those 60-plus broccoli varieties out there.
That's right.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you in the next deep dive.